All right, everybody, listen up. My name's Anthony. I came here today to talk to you guys about, what's your plan? What's your plan after high school? I went through a vocational program similar to what you guys are going through right now, and it afforded me to have a great career, afforded me to have nice things, and make money for my family. Okay, so we're going to go through some of these slides. I'm not going to read every slide line for line because if you learn about me, I don't read so well. I don't write so well. I don't spell so well, but I work well, and that's all you need to know. Okay, I'm not here to talk negative about going to college or further education. So I'll say that disclaimer now, okay? I'm not here to say if you guys want to go to college, you shouldn't go to college. I'm just letting you know if you don't and you don't feel like that's your path, that there's a lot of stuff out there you could do. The governor of Pennsylvania right now said 92% of state jobs are not going to require a four-year college degree after high school, okay? So there are plenty of career paths out there that do not involve just going to school, going to college, or stuff like that, okay? So just remember, anything I say about my experience in school or my experience with teachers, it has nothing to do with being negative about school. I always like to get that out of the way. Sorry, teachers, if you hear anything you don't like. Okay? All right, Jen, let's go to the next one. Next one, Jen. Okay, if you look here, that's me in a vocational program. I was 16 there. Okay, in this picture, I'm about 18. Okay, and I ended up in the vocational program because I was struggling in school very hard. I was getting in a lot of trouble, and when I was younger, there wasn't anybody who really came in and said, you know what, if you don't want to go to college, you could still be a success in this world. In the late 90s, all the rage was college, okay? If you didn't go to college, then I don't know what you would be, but to most of the guidance counselors and teachers that I dealt with, I wasn't going to be much, okay? My sister's 2 years older than me. On the field of graduation, after my sister graduated, the principal went over to my mother and told her, as long as he's principal, I will never graduate high school. And just to hear those type of negative connotations about myself, getting in trouble, ending up suspended, stuff like that, hanging out with or without the wrong people, the good people, that was my struggle, okay? I struggled so hard that my grade was so low in 10th grade that my mother had to beg the summer school principal to let me in because my grades were so low, I didn't even qualify for summer school, And I'm not saying that because I'm proud of that. I'm just saying that because when I was in high school, I was just waiting for my 16th birthday to come around just so I could sign those papers and drop out because according to myself, I didn't need anything that was going on in that school. You know what I mean? I didn't learn anything over there, so I thought at the time. Once you get older, you start to realize that just because people might give you advice that you don't like doesn't mean that that counselor or that teacher doesn't mean well for you. It might not be something you want to hear or it might not be something you want to go along with, but at the time, teachers are here to help you, but sometimes, like myself, I made myself a target a lot of the time because I was getting in a lot of trouble. So anytime something happened around me, boom, it had to be me according to the principal. So once you get on that track, it's hard to change people's opinion of yourself, okay? But their opinion of yourself does not have to be your opinion of yourself, okay? Even when I was getting a lot of negative stuff going on in school, suspended, in trouble, all that stuff, I always felt in my mind that they were wrong and I was right. That just because I couldn't read and write well or I couldn't pass a test, that I was just going to be another loser, okay? I wasn't going to be able to survive. I wouldn't be able to feed my family and stuff like that. Well, it turns out that in the late 90s and early 2000s, they left the trades to all people like me, okay? All people that just said, here, you could take the trades. We don't need this. We're going to do all the stuff that makes money. You guys could go over here, get your hands dirty, smell paint, cut your fingers. That's all for you guys. That's not for us educated people, Turns out in the end, right now, okay, the skills gap is huge right now. I'm going to show you a short video, okay, and then when we're done talking about the video, we'll go through a few of things that he said. this is Mike Rowe. I don't know if anybody's heard of him, you know, deadliest catch. He's a very good advocate for the trades, okay? So I'll let you watch this 1 minute and 30-second clip, and maybe some of you fit into this, okay? Good.
Well, everybody talks about high unemployment. High unemployment's obviously a big problem, but it seems to me that the real problem is the skills gap. Because the skills gap shows us that there are opportunities available, millions of them, in fact. And the problem seems to be that those opportunities don't get celebrated the same way the opportunities that come with a 4-year degree get celebrated. It's been going on for decades, I think. There's a lot of bad advice out there, and kids hear the same steady message over and over and over and over and over and over again, right? A 4-year degree is your best path to happiness, but maybe that's not true. In fact, it seems like the jobs that are available today, the really good jobs that can pay upwards of 6 figures, most of those require some kind of vocational background, right? And while that's a fact, we discourage a vocational background at the same time. So we're kind of disconnected from all of that, in my opinion. And it seems to me if we want to close the skills gap, we have to start valuing something in a different way. We have to start celebrating hard work and smart work at the same time. And we have to start looking at that space between blue collar and white collar as the gap into which all these jobs have fallen. We need to close that gap, and we need to start celebrating the opportunities that are available right now, today, in my humble opinion.
All right, so as you could tell, what he talked about is maybe people in the trades don't have a role model, okay? If you love basketball, all you want to do is play basketball, there's plenty of basketball players out there that are stars. You love football, you love hockey, whatever you like, there's always a star, always a role model, okay? But in the trades, for some reason, it seems that they don't get promoted the same way. People don't feel like, oh, you're going to go do that, like that's a successful path. But like I said, right now there are more jobs open than any other time in history for people that are willing to work and willing to use your hands. I say it all the time, your best tool in life are these two things right here, your hands, okay? You train your hands to work. It doesn't matter, automotive, carpentry, marine, electrical, it doesn't matter. You train your hands, I promise you, you'll never starve. There will always be somebody that needs somebody with good hands, okay? Here's one of the situations, okay? If you look at how many jobs are open right now, you got 4.6 million jobs in the manufacturing department, okay? Only 2.2 million of them are going to be filled over the next 10 years, okay? Maybe one of them could be you, okay? Just because you're not doing great in school doesn't mean that this can't be you, doesn't mean you can't succeed in this life. Okay. Student loan debt for college. That's the second highest debt in all of America of 1.5 trillion, okay? So a lot of people go and they sign the papers to get student loans. Sometimes they give you even more than you need to, okay? Who gives out those loans? The government gives out those loans, okay? So you're going to have to pay those all back over an extended period of time. Again, like I said, college is not bad, but it's also not made for everybody, okay? All right, Jingle, next clip. Okay, over here is the top 10 highest annual salary jobs for a blue-collar job. As you could tell, no matter where you go on the list, you start over $70,000 a year, okay? But now here's a big catch to this. When you're new and you're young, what people are going to look for from you is not what you learned in the school, not what you learned in the class. They're going to look and see, what is your work ethic like, okay? If we start at 8, I don't expect you to be getting out of your car at 8, okay? That means at 7:45, if you're going to get coffee, a drink, whatever, that should be done in that time period, okay? Don't ever be upset with a boss or a supervisor holding you account for being on time, okay? You have to be on time in this life, especially when you get out of high school. You know, I know you come to school a little late. They say, yeah, you shouldn't be late. But when you get out into the world, it could cost you your job, your career, okay? That's why I always say things like, don't burn a bridge. You could get a job, and after 2 weeks, you could go, this ain't for me, I hate it. No problem. You don't know that in a couple of years when your life changes, it wouldn't be for you then. So it does not do anybody any good to leave a job in a horrible way, okay? Everybody that you work for, hopefully they're good people. I know from myself, I own a company with a bunch of people that work for me. I've never fired somebody for being honest with me, okay? I have fired people for calling out sick at 4 in the morning and then just not showing up for 3 days. So communication and responsibility is everything in this world. Whether people like to admit it or not, no matter how good you are, if you're late, you're only going to have problems, okay? So make sure you're always on time. The first day of work, be there a half hour early, be awake, get your sleep. Rest is very important when you're working with your hands, because if you don't rest, you're going to get to work, you're going to be lethargic, you know, you're not going to put your whole effort into it, okay? And when you go into the trades, nobody's going to treat you like you've accomplished anything yet. Yes, you might have graduated a vocational program, but in the professional world, you're still looked at as a nobody at the moment, you know. It might not be the greatest job. Maybe you want to do automotive, but when you get a job at a shop, they have you sweeping the floor and taking out the garbage. You want to know why? Because in the real world, people can't afford to just show you everything you need to know and not finish their work, because it is a business. It's not like school where you come back tomorrow and you just pick up where you left off. It's not always that simple, you know. So when you get there and the first question out of your mouth is, well, how much am I going to make? You're already on the wrong path. The first question out of your mouth should be, I don't care what I make, because what I'm making is an education in a field. People go off to college, they pay to go to college. Now, you will be getting paid. Maybe not what you think you're worth, but there'll probably be many people there that have a lot of experience that are willing to show you what they know for free, okay? You will still be making money because it's illegal to work for free, but maybe it's not the amount you think you deserve. Well, you have to prove what you're worth in this world. It doesn't just get given to you, okay? You know, I came out of school, almost all my friends went to college. So every Thursday night, they had a good time. They went out with their friends, they hung out. I was home sleeping. While they were out partying, I was sleeping, you know. I was getting up for work at 4 a.m., working 70, 80 days in a row. You want to know why all those teachers that doubted me are the same teachers that call me now and ask me to talk to people about going into the trades. Isn't that amazing? The same people that told me if I didn't follow this path, that's it. Might as well call it a day. I'll be a loser at that point. So no matter what people say, you could do two different things with it. You could let it tear you down, or you could let it fuel your fire. For me, I said, you know what? And still to this day, right now, I'm 40 years old. I'm plenty successful. I have everything that one person could want in this life. But I still always have that thought in the back of my mind that I'm going to show this person that I'm not what they say I'm going to be, okay? That I'm not a bad person. That my mother can go to open school night and come home without crying, begging one teacher to just say something nice about me instead of just all these horrible things. My mother came home from that, she said, I will never go back to that school. I can't listen to how many people tell me how bad you are and how, you know, how you're just not doing it, how you're not doing things right. Started cutting class, you know, this is before they had security guards. So you walk out the door, they didn't care, they just suspend you, you know. The reason why I ended up in BOCES is because I was failing. I was doing terrible. I didn't think I was going to make it. So the guidance counselor just said, why don't you go to a vocational program? The program I went to wasn't in my school. It was off-site. So just to get me out of the school, they told me to go to BOCES, because as long as I'm not in the school, they don't have to deal with me. Okay? I get to vocational program, and I walk in, and there's 25 kids just like myself. None of us were doing that great in school. All of us were having problems, and problems in school do not help your home life. So when I go home and say, my sisters are on the honor roll, but I'm getting suspended every other week, that does not make for a great home life between you and whoever you live with, because it's just a lot of negative stuff going on at one time. You know, you guys, somebody's getting in trouble, teachers are calling, especially this day where it's not so hard just to send an email to whoever's taking care of you that, oh, listen, so-and-so is acting up, you know. What are you going to do? You know, some of us can't sit still. The way you guys are sitting right now, I would have never been able to sit there for even 20 minutes. I go to work every day. I don't even have a chair at my desk because I can't sit down. That's just my nervous energy. That's what it is. I've always had this type of nervous energy. I could watch the TV at home standing up. I don't like to sit. I don't know why. So, when you have to sit all day long, sometimes, it's not as easy as it is for people that don't have a problem sitting down. So, what you do in your life is your choice. If you want to let someone called the haters be right, then let them be right. But let me tell you something. Showing those people that you aren't what they say you are is a nice dish to serve to some teachers and some administrators, okay? Because there are two different schools in my mind, okay? There's a school for people that are doing well and having no problems, okay? And then there's another school, the school I went to, where every day you wake up, you're just like, oh my God, not another day of this. I can't sit still for even 10 minutes. And back then, nobody came in from the trades and said, you know what? I understand you're struggling academically. Maybe I don't know what a squared plus b squared times 6 is. I don't know. You know what I mean? But you can do something, and you can be a successful part of society and your life. Only you get to decide what negativity comes into your life, what you do with that negativity. Do you let it bring you down just because you're dealing with, a guidance counselor, a teacher that they went to the other school? They went to the school where everything was great, and they went home and everybody was happy and it wasn't a problem. I didn't go to that school. I went to the school where it was terrible, because I just didn't see how I was ever going to get through it. But on that field in 10th grade, when the principal told my mother that I would never graduate high school, that gave me everything I wanted to graduate high school. Because all I needed to know is, I'll see that guy on the field in 2 years. And 2 years later, that guy had to hand me a piece of paper. I graduated. And you have to decide what you're going to do, okay? This is a good comment I like. Lazy people do a little work and expect to win. But winners work as hard as they can, but still worry that they are being lazy, okay? Nobody at your job is ever going to tell you, hey, slow down, you're working too much, okay? They will tell you, put the phone away, look at what you're doing, pay attention. Because if you get in a field where a guy's going to teach you, an experienced guy with 20, 30 years experience, remember, that person isn't a teacher. He's not getting paid to show you anything. But he will, because that's how the trades work. I was raised by people in the trade, but I started like everybody else. Cutting cardboard, changing the gas, changing whatever. I have to go get gas, I have to drop a car off, whatever, okay? If you think you're a high-end tradesman, it does not matter your vocational level. When you get to a shop or wherever you get to, you will have to earn it. Nothing in the trades is given, and nothing in the trades is worse than somebody who comes in with low energy, unfocused. You have to find out how you're going to get your focus, because even for somebody like me, who was very hard to focus, once I got into a trade that I loved and enjoyed, it didn't feel like I was working. No matter what you do, working always stinks. I hate to say it, but doing what you love always makes it a little bit easier, so make it easier on yourself, and you could explore many different types of trades. I know a lot of people here in automotive. If you go to a diesel program, think of the possibilities as a diesel mechanic. Almost every truck, school bus, and whatever, they're all diesel. Okay, you could get a job working for the city in the sanitation, working on trucks. It's a great job with a great career, with the great benefits. You get to retire in 20, 25 years. You make good money, but listen, it's going to be tough. If you're going to work in the city and you live out here, I'm close to Queens a little bit, and it took me an hour and a half to get here. So you got to understand that you have to prepare for whatever's going to be in your way. So don't leave the house if you got to be somewhere in 40 minutes, 39 minutes ago, okay? You got to get there. I was here today at 9:30, and you guys didn't come in here till 10:30. Even Allie, she said, I can't believe you're here this early. You want to know why? I hate to be unprepared. It's an old saying that's kind of cliche, but, failing to prepare is preparing to fail, okay? The night before you have work, make sure you know what you're wearing. I have guys come in slippers, tell me, sorry, I forget my shoes at home. Sorry, got to go. no pay for the day. You are responsible for yourself and whatever is important to bring to that job. Don't, just like they say, don't show up to school without a pen. Well, don't show up to the job unready to work. Show up to the job, be awake, be alert, and give the extra effort. It doesn't hurt to go over to the boss in certain places and go, hey, you need me for anything before I leave? Can I help you with something before I leave? Because that's the type of stuff that shows a boss it's worth it for me to deal with the mistakes that are going to be made by a novice tradesman. And you will make mistakes. And the best thing you could do on all those mistakes is own up to them. Take responsibility for your actions. The only thing that drives me more crazy than anything is somebody who makes a mistake and then tries to cover it up, tries to hide it, doesn't tell it. We all make mistakes, especially in the trades. You're not going to know exactly what you're doing. So if they give you a task, most likely they're giving you the task so you could fail, so you could see where your level's at, or the boss could see where your level's at. So if he gives you something and you fail on it, that doesn't mean just, forget it, I can't do this. No. Bosses test people. Just like you get tested here, a test, there's tests out there every day. So every time you go to a job or you go somewhere like that, you got to make sure you put the effort in. That's the biggest thing. I could tell you all this stuff. I could tell you you're going to be millionaire. I could tell you anything. None of that happens without getting to work on time and being responsible for yourself. Your friends are going out. They're in college. They don't have college on Fridays. You have work, though. Okay? So it's not right to think you're going to live a college lifestyle but be a man or a woman. And in the automotive fields, I'll tell you too, I have women that work for me. I have women that paint cars. Anybody out there today will hire anybody if you show up and you look like you're into it and you look like you could be somebody. These fields are so drained out that you could almost write your own ticket. Train your hands, you'll never go hungry. That's what I tell people. COVID hit. My industry, the auto body industry, got really hit hard because nobody was driving, no car accidents. What am I going to do? We transitioned and we started doing in-ground pools. To this day right now, I still don't know how to hook up a pool filter, but we had a great pool business going during COVID. You want to know why? Because we have trained hands. The guys we did the pools with never worked on a pool a day in their life, and we did 300 pools in 1 year. Why? Because people showed up, people were accountable for their actions, and everybody was enjoying themselves, making money. A lot of businesses now, they go on commission base. Why? Because you need incentive to work. I call it dangling the carrot so the donkey can walk after it. You never get to the carrot, but you just keep walking after it. And that's kind of how life is, You set small goals because you have to celebrate the victories. There are victories, and you have to celebrate them. Okay? But when there are failures, you have to notice the failures and step back and look at why you failed. Was it because of something you did? Was it because you didn't have the right tool? There's always a reason why, and it's never a negative thing to point out your own flaws to yourself. That's how you become a better person. Finding out what you're good at, what's your strong point. Some people are strong talking in public. I could sit here and talk. Some other people can't come up here and talk to a bunch of people they don't know. So know what your skills are, what you're comfortable doing. If you don't like to speak in front of people, I don't think public relations is the best career path to go down. So pretty much, it's very hard when you're young to say, you know what, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. You might spend 2 or 3 years in the field and go, you know what, wasn't for me, But you have to give everything an ample shot. This day and age, everything's so automatic. The internet, the social media, whatever, okay? A career is not automatic. It doesn't happen in 5 minutes. You're going to see guys making a lot more money than you or girls making a lot more money than you. That's because they put in the time. They served their time. I started in this industry that I'm in. I was making $350 a week take home for about 40, 50 hours, okay, to do manual labor. That's less than $10 an hour, okay? So at first, you have to understand that just like people pay to go to college, you're going to get paid to learn, but you are learning, okay? So don't ever be so arrogant where you're not going to take advice from the people that have been there and done it. Because the people that have been there and done it, they've already earned their credit in that industry, okay? Because like I said, all the hands-on industry has a lot to do with your attitude and how you approach the situation, okay? Will you like everybody you work with? No. Does everybody that work for me like me? I bet if you ask them, probably not every day, you know, which leads me to a different topic. Not everybody in here has to be a boss or an owner of a company. If everybody in the world was a boss or an owner of a company, we'd have no world, there'd be no workers. So know what you're good at, know what you like to do, know what you don't like to do. You know, some people just want to worry about themselves, nothing wrong with that. I want to do my job, I don't want to care about everybody else's job. Perfect. Doesn't mean you can't be successful, it just means maybe you're not cut out to deal with multiple people and multiple personalities, okay? Not a big deal at all. I have plenty of guys that work for me that they wouldn't stand up here and talk to you guys, you know, it's just not their forte, it's not what they do, you know? Right, you want to, yep, good. Hit the next one, Jen. Okay, you know, we looking like we were looking before, you know, at what things start out at, what jobs start out at. If you look up the U.S. Bureau of Labor and Statistics, it'll tell you, you know, if you're not afraid of heights, you know, wind is the new thing now. They're putting all these big wind, you know, mills up and stuff like that. So if you're not afraid of heights, not me. I keep my feet on the ground. I don't like heights, you know. But, you know, if you're not afraid of heights, let me tell you, like ironworking and stuff like that, those are huge careers to have. And when you get to those fields in the city, especially if you get a good union job, they send you to school themselves. You know, they help you get further in this life than you could on your own. So again, take what you're getting, just as good as money, is somebody helping you gain knowledge in any field, okay? Go ahead, Jen, go next one. Yeah, you keep going around. Okay, so finally, pretty much, you know, I came here today. I drove all the way out here, me, my wife, you know, just to give maybe one person in this crowd hope, okay? I sat where you sat 20 years ago, and I know everybody could walk out of here. I would have walked out of here 20 years ago. Meh, who gives a crap what he said? You know what I mean? I know what I'm going to do, and that's all that matters. Well, let me tell you where an attitude like that will get you. Not far. You know, always be open to criticism. Not all criticism is a knock on the person you are, okay? Constructive criticism is good. Obviously, we are all put on this earth to be used, but we're not put on this earth to be misused or abused, okay? So make sure there's a fine line between somebody just getting on your case because you're not doing the right thing and somebody who's just verbally abusing you on a daily basis, okay? There are bosses out there that have that type of style. I have a little bit of each style, where there's days where I want to throw a garbage can, and there's days where it's the happiest day of my life. You know, not every day is going to be exactly how you want it. So the days that don't go how you want it, they're done. They're over with. You can't pick up spilled milk, okay? So if you have a bad day, you go home. You can't carry that day for a whole week at work. Nobody wants to deal with it. I have problems with some of my employees. Sometimes they don't want to talk to me for 2 days. You know what I mean? That'll all go by what a boss expects of you. Some bosses give their people space, and some bosses, when you're confrontational with them, they give you that right back. So always approach a situation, you know, calm and collected. You know, if you have questions, I'd never seen anybody ask a good question or even a stupid question, because technically there is no stupid questions in the trades, okay? You could ask any tradesman, they'll tell you they learned from the people before them. I learned from the people before me, and I'll teach the people after me, you know? So in this world today, there's plenty of options out there. So make sure you don't cheat yourself out of a good option just because at first you might not think you like it so much, okay? Does anybody have any questions?
What trade are you in?
I own an auto body shop in Nassau County.
How do you feel about the automotive industry going to electric?
I truly feel that that's so far away that they don't really want, I mean, we deal with hybrid cars now, Teslas and stuff like that, but it's a very minuscule market right now. But will it grow? Only time will tell how much electric they could produce to make that happen. I see a lot of people drive around with electric cars with a gas generator on the back to charge it up. So, to get all these charging stations open, yes, I took a hybrid class. I'm certified to work on hybrid vehicles. That's another thing. Post-school training. If a boss says, hey, listen, there's a training on this, would you like to go? Don't say no because you don't want to go somewhere till 8 o'clock at night. Don't say no because you're like, well, am I going to get paid? You are getting paid in the knowledge you're going to learn in that class. And if you pick that knowledge up, I promise you that'll lead to better financial stability in your life. Anybody else have any other questions? All right, pretty much that's it. So I hope everybody got a little bit of what I'm saying. I came here to talk to myself, pretty much, because myself is sitting here somewhere, okay? And I would have liked somebody to come and tell me, you know what? You're not great at math. There are other options out there, But the main thing is you have to finish high school. You can't get a job doing anything without a high school degree. So even though I wanted to drop out and I couldn't wait till I was 16 so I could drop out, I went to school for 4 years straight. I didn't have no summer breaks. I went to summer school every single year. And it always started on July 5th, just to really stick it to us. Because, 4th of July, everybody's having a good time. 5th of July, it's 100 degrees. I'm sitting in class. Why? Because I didn't do enough to get by, and I had it all figured out. And to be honest, I didn't have it figured out. And I'm happy I graduated high school because you know what? That's a successful task for me. The fact that I graduated high school, look, even the own principal didn't think I was going to graduate high school. But again, don't let that negativity bring you down. Those people that are telling you that, they've taken a different path in life. I don't understand their path, but they might not understand my path or your path. So not everybody, even if they give you bad advice in your mind, is doing it maliciously, though. They're only telling you because from their experience, they want to see you do better. And that's the one thing, when they say the youth is wasted on the young, that's what the one thing I don't like about what I did in school was I was very rude and disrespectful to a lot of people. And I wish I could take that back because those type of things could stick with you for a lifetime. 1 minute in your life could ruin your whole professional career. Remember that. There's cameras everywhere. Somebody's always watching. So whatever you're doing, understand somebody's always watching, okay? So make sure you do the right thing. Somebody lets you into their business, that's like letting you guys into my soul, letting you guys into my business, okay? So you come into my business and you do something disrespectful or something like that, it hurts, it's not right. So make sure wherever you go, you give it your all. And if you can't give it your all, then don't go. Because without your all, you're not going to make it anywhere. And I'm sure a million people have said this before to you guys. Everything is about effort. I could deal with somebody who isn't the most skilled if they give effort. If they look like they want to be there. So make sure when you're there, you want to be there and you act like you want to be there. And if somebody shows you something, you say, I appreciate you showing me. When I started, they said, one time. We show you what to do one time. If you don't get it, we're not showing you again. So make sure you pay attention that one time. Because that shows a lot to a boss that you could retain information and you could put it out into the work. All right? I appreciate you guys listening to me. Yeah.
How did you feel when you graduated high school?
How did I feel when I graduated high school? Lost. That's how I felt. I graduated high school. I was proud of myself. But now, because I wasn't going off to college, I had to make a decision before my 18th birthday, what am I going to do with myself? Because the last thing you want to do is graduate high school and then go sit down for 2 years. You get lazy, okay? So I was proud of myself for graduating, but I was also scared because I was going out into the unknown. And like I said, back then, they weren't pushing trades as a great thing to do. It was go to college, go to college. So back then I said, oh man, maybe they're right. Maybe I am going to be a loser because that's all they say, so maybe they're right. But only you have the ability to make somebody's opinion of you wrong. So take that, let gasoline pour on the fire. They say Michael Jordan got cut from his junior high school basketball team. If those events never happened or the negativity that was sprung on me never happened, it made me the person I am today. So as much as I wish my school situation was a lot more happy and fun and go places, I wasn't allowed to go on a field trip for the last 6 years of school because I was so bad they wouldn't take me on a field trip. So don't cheat yourselves from those things. You know what I mean? It's not easy out there. So if you think you're going to walk out there and, you know, approach things how you approach things in school, you'll be in for a rude awakening. Anybody else have any questions?
Did you go to a trade school?
I did go to a vocational program. I went to, it was called Memorial in Levittown, okay? And when I graduated, they had nobody enroll in the class, and they shut the whole program down. Yeah, because like I said, in the late 90s and the early 2000s, trades really wasn't getting pushed. It was the first generation, like my parents didn't go to college, but it was okay for them. But my generation, I'll be about 40 this year, it was, this is it. They weren't giving you an alternate path. They only sent people off to BOCES or vocational program because we were bad, and they didn't want to deal with us anymore. They just said, hey, go over here. Turns out all of us that went over here, we're all making a very good living. So some more than others. Some people want money. Some people don't care about money. So whatever it is you enjoy or you're focused on, that might not be the next person's focus. So just because you have a different view on a situation that somebody else has, doesn't mean you're right, they're wrong, they're right, you're wrong. Two people could be right about the same situation. It's not always just cut and dry like that. All right, anybody else?
The QR codes are up there for that website.
If anybody wants to hit the QR code, there's a website where you go through all the different jobs, okay? And it'll tell you, oh, I hit the button, Jen. You want to go back? It'll tell you, you could put in the field that you want, and it'll tell you exactly what those fields are paying. So that way you know, like, hey, listen, I want to go into ironwork, I want to go into cosmetology, barbering, anything. Work with your hands. I promise you, you'll never go hungry if you train your hands the right way. I'm sure some of the teachers that have experience in the fields will all tell you, you know, keep your hands trained well, you'll never go hungry. All right, guys? I appreciate your time. Thank you.
And really, really quick, I know because you mentioned wind turbines, you guys know that they're building them right off by Smith's Point, like right in our neighborhood.
They're going to be building them everywhere.
Like $9 billion worth of resources are going offshore, and they need, so we're actually, somebody's going to come in and do a presentation for anybody who is interested, but they need carpenters, they need culinary, because when you go out on those rigs, like, you're living out there. They need medical assistants, nurses, you're out there. So literally right on the shore. What? Boat mechanics, because I didn't finish. Mechanics.
Yeah, boat mechanics, great. We're surrounded by water on all sides. So.
Pretty much our program. And we are, and I know, like you talked about the negative stigma. We are very lucky where we live is that we 100 believe in.
Yeah. Believe me, you guys are very fortunate to have a program that you have in your school like this, because they don't offer this in many schools, to be honest. Some of the schools don't even want to pay for their kids to go to a vocational program. The fact that they built this whole thing for you, don't miss that opportunity, because it's a big opportunity. I took my opportunity in 11th grade, and from there, I've only kept going up. All right?
So good for you guys. It's also
Yep.
a round of applause for you.
Thank you. I appreciate your time. All right?